Whoo, shit. It's a cold day in hell today. Oh my goodness. Whoo. Amazing how fast things change. Yesterday I was out doing a chicken run and I was out sweating. It was 71 degrees outside. Tonight it's going to be down in the upper 20s and we've got a wind chill in the lower 20s. Since yesterday, things change fast. You know what's funny? You know what's funny here? Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. People always ask me, Mark, why do you go on the Dan Saleo show? Why do you go on that show and take all that abuse from Philly 500 and Dan Saleo? You're just there for comic relief and to be abused. Why do you do that? And I said, I'm just going to bide my time. I said, bad times don't always last. Eventually things turn around. And right now, you have to look at the Dallas Cowboys and say, they might be one of the hottest teams in the NFL, not named the Rams. I'm being serious right now. Now, you could say that the 3-game win streak, is nothing. That's fine. That's fine. But I want you to understand, in 4 days, they beat the defending Super Bowl champion and the bridesmaid. They beat both of them. Nobody gave the Cowboys a rat's chance in hell to beat the Eagles because the Eagles that were 8-2 and talking about them, they were sitting there at the number 1 seed, and that the Cowboys, no chance. No chance. But they did. They did. And then Kansas City, with Kansas City's season like ours on the line, the Cowboys found a way. They found a way to get a win. I couldn't be prouder of them. But see, the course of this 3 weeks ago, Philly 500 laughed at my team. I had the shirt I have underneath on here, the stars are aligning. I said the stars are aligning. And, which the stars are Dak Prescott, Javonte Williams, CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, and George Pickens. And they laughed. Oh, look at him with the stars are aligning. And Philly 500 went through and he said, the Cowboys, they only get like 1 win a month. Okay. 1 win a month. He also came through with his crazy glasses that he put on. He said, don't worry, Mark. The Dallas Cowboys got Dak some new glasses so he can see everything on there. It even has a timer on it so he knows when the clock is running out. Here we go. Here we go. And do you know, since he did that, Dak Prescott has been on a tear. 8 TDs, 2 interceptions, and I believe 950 yards. 950 yards in the last 3 weeks. Now, the Dallas Cowboys, here's what's crazy is, that first drive, Dak Prescott throws an interception. The trolls roll in. Oh, there we go, Dak Prescott. It's over. It's over. Cowboy fans, man, I'm sick of this mother humper, man. Get rid of it. He's a bum. He's shit. We'd have lost this game. I'm like, people, didn't you just see them come from behind 21 points? That's the Dallas Cowboys. Because we are the anti-Giants. See, the Giants can't hold the lead in the fourth quarter. I'm sorry, Jets Nation. They can't hold the lead in the fourth quarter. The Cowboys, they give up all their points in the first quarter. They start slow. Literally. The second half of games, the defense comes alive. That defense is nowhere what we have. We kept saying, if the defense can just get a few stops. And early on in that game, Kansas City gets a short field because of the interception, touchdown. Kansas City gets the ball again, goes all the way down the field, touchdown. You're saying, oh shit, Pat Mahomes is back because he's got Rashid Rice back, he's got Pacheco back, he's got a full complement of weapons. Now, to his demise, he did end up having Trey Smith gone, his all-pro guard. But the Cowboys, they beat him. It wasn't luck. They just beat him. They have hellacious fight, and they don't give up. So game balls here. Game balls. Dak Prescott, who has 25 TDs on the season. 25 TDs. And he did have 2 TDs and interception, but over 320 yards passing. Dude is on an unbelievable tear right now. You got to give him one. CeeDee Lamb. I made jokes of him. My wife got some CeeDee Lamb body scents, body spray. And I was like, this shit stink, man. Made jokes about him with the drops and everything else. He said, hold my beer. Because CeeDee Lamb came back with a vengeance and was playing pretty good. Especially when early on it seemed like George Pickens couldn't get into the groove. For a while there, George Pickens had like 6 targets and only 2 catches for 22 yards. And he said, hold my beer. And he made the most ridiculous catch and run hurdling over a guy. That guy, unbelievably, I want you to understand this. I had Momo who came on after we were finished the live stream, and he thought we were still on live because he was going through and he was just bashing. George Pickens ain't nothing special. He's just an average receiver. He just gets away because he's taller. What? He's like, Momo, you ain't make no sense. I want you to understand, George Pickens has over 1,140 some yards, which is more yards than any season that he had in Pittsburgh. 1,140 was the most. He's just surpassed that and still has 5 games to go. He is unbelievable. The 2 of them had 200 yards in receptions. The 2 of them had 200 yards in receptions. So anybody who wrote off CD, nah, bro. You need both of them. Because both of them, between George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, that shit just works. That offense is probably the best offensive group. 31 points. And mind you, I want you to understand this. Because you say, oh, well, they only scored 31. Yeah, but that defense that they played against, that defense is 4th in scoring defense. That defense averages giving up only 18.4 points a game, at least before this one. It'll go up some because of this game. The Cowboys did their shit. And Javonte Williams, not an incredible game and anything like that, just kind of average. But Malik Davis took up the slack. Malik Davis, when they drafted Jaden Blue, basically tonight he said, hold my beer. Because that run he had up the middle was unbelievable. The Cowboys, that offense is just clicking. They're just clicking. If you just take away the first quarter, the rest of the game is just butter. Which I guess is better than having a bad fourth quarter, like the Giants. Sorry, Jess. Sorry. But the Cowboys' offensive line, I want you to understand, they have gone against some elite defensive talent. They went against Max Crosby 3 weeks ago. They went against Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. Oh, and Jalen Phillips, too. That guy. Right, okay. And they gave up 1 sack. I don't believe Dak was sacked tonight. That offensive line, that young offensive line, including Tyler Guyton tonight, they did their shit. They did their shit, and you got to give them credit. You really have to give them credit. Remember what I told you about Clowney? See, here's the problem with when we sign somebody. Everybody expects them game 1 to just be great, okay? Especially when they're a named player. I told you, like last year when we signed Carl Lawson, that It took him multiple weeks before he started getting into a groove. He ended up with 5.5 sacks, I think second in the team in sack total, but the first few games was not effective. Well, I said the same thing with Clowney. Clowney wasn't here with training camp. He wasn't in anybody's training camp. He had to get in shape to be able to play. And boy, is he playing. 2 sacks tonight. 2 freaking sacks tonight. Forgive me. There's so many people out here that were just great. I can't remember everybody who got a sack tonight. It's been a long day. Everything's kind of a blur. But there's others out there that have sack, and if you got a sack, you get a game ball. We didn't get any takeaways, and the Dallas Cowboys defense on those first 2 drives, you're like, oh shit, we done reverted backwards. But they played as a team. And the thing that's great about this, because Overshown, you're beginning to see Overshown from last year. He's still getting his legs up underneath of him, but he is flashing and he is looking really good. The thing about this team is, in the past, the game has always been Tony Romo. We would either win because of Tony Romo, or we'd lose because of Tony Romo. Or on our defense, it was Micah Parsons was going to make a great play and stuff like that, and we're going to be great on defense, or we just weren't. The Cowboys, they gave up more yards on the ground today, but they're facing Pat Mahomes and a loaded offense. More loaded than he's had all season, because like I said, Pacheco and Ray Rice were both back on the field today. And they kept them in check. And you may say, well, it was still kind of close. They still scored, 28 points. 28? Whatever it was. But when you think about Russell Wilson getting 37 with the Giants, or you think about Jordan Love getting 40, I don't even want to talk about how bad the Cardinals were. That Cowboys defense is rolling. And they may be, right now I'm telling you, their team. That pump doesn't sound good. They may be out of gas. They may be one of the hottest teams in the NFL. And they get an opportunity because now they're sitting in the 9th spot for playoffs. They get a chance to play the Lions next week. If they can win that game, bro, they go to 8th. It was a great day for the Cowboys. And as always, good people, it's cold out here. I need to go and plug my pump. Sounds like the water's low. There might be a leak out there. Sounds like the water's low and I don't want it to burn up the pump. But enjoy right now. The Cowboys could play lights out and still miss the playoffs. That's possible. But today, they took another step a little bit closer. And the way they have reacted since losing Marshawn Nealon, you got to be proud of them. All right, you good people. Remember, on this Thanksgiving, show the people that you love how much you love them. And those that aren't here, remember them. I love you guys. Peace out.